Welcome back everybody to 31 Days of Horror, and we're on our 27th day, and today we're taking a look at 1986's Night of the Creeps. Now this is a film that clocks in at 88 minutes long. It is a mix of science fiction, horror and comedy, directed by Fred Decker, who also did the fairly good The Monster Squad, but he also did the worst of the original RoboCop films in the form of RoboCop 3. It stars Jason Lively and Steve Marshall, who I've not seen anything from before, which is a bit of a surprise when I look into it because they are really rather good in their lead roles, as well as Jill Whitlow, who I've seen in Weird Science and Thunder Run. But lastly, but not least, that's for sure, Tom Atkins, who was in 1980 alone, was in The Ninth Configuration and The Fog, which are two really good films. But then you've also got Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, Creepshow, Maniac Cop, Two Evil Eyes, Escape from New York, and Lethal Weapon. And he was also in the In the Search of Darkness horror documentaries, where he came across really rather likable, and really enjoyed seeing him talk about the films he's been a part of, as well as other films from the decade. And it's also got a cameo by Dick Miller, who was in many cameos in the 80s, Terminator and Chopping Mall being two notable ones. And this is a film that is the plot premise of this film is about, in 1959, an alien experiment crashes to Earth and infects a fraternity member. They freeze a body, but in the modern day, i.e. 1986, two geeks pledging a fraternity accidentally fall the corpse, which proceeds to infect the campus with parasites that transform their hosts into killer zombies. And they basically infect them by shooting themselves into the mouths of their victims, and basically look like weird slug things. So this is an earnest attempt at a B movie and a homage to the genre itself, as well as other films that mix those genres together. And while it gets trapped in some of the typical B movie cliches, I have never been bored by it, and I've always had fun watching it. So it's really, really solid throughout. The cast as a whole is good, especially Tom Atkins, who plays his role really rather straight, despite all of the absurd nonsense that's going around him, and also his absurd lines, including his catchphrase "Thrill me," which is never doesn't not get funny. And the production is really well done. In particular, the practical effects. You've got plenty of gore and violence, but they are done in a really rather classy way. And it's also well paced. It's shot really well, and it never lets up on either the laughs, action, or the plot moving forward, meaning it never really drags at all. So the pacing is completely on point. It's constantly moving. You're getting more from your characters, or you're getting more from the plot, or a combination of the two, and then you also got quite a lot of action in the end. So it's just a really really fun film. It's apparently quite low budget, but it really doesn't show on the screen. And considering they got Tom Atkins on board, who was still quite a notable name in the horror genre back in the day, shows that they still had some money going around to get someone like that on board. And then also the practical effects are really good. And they're not the best of the era. They're not quite on the level of, say, The Thing or The Fly, but it's still overall really well done, and just a hugely entertaining film throughout. So it did surprise me when I was first getting into Eureka releases that this was one of their releases, because this looks on the whole to be something like Arrow Video would release, or 88 Films or something like that. I didn't expect them to release in essence is a B movie, a low budget B movie that didn't do well at all at the box office on its original release. So it did surprise me, but I'm glad they did. And they did a really good job with that Blu-ray as well. But nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.